The following broadcast is brought to you by Agora Center of Thought. Here only on the Voluntary Virtues Network. Every Saturday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us on the dark side of radio. Agora, Anarchy, Action. Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Agora Underground. Comrade Dick here. And we're live, as you well know, Saturday, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, every single day. On Saturday, that is. And it is quite an eventful day, actually. Darian and I went downtown and threw it down with end torture protests that Conscious Resistance was organizing, getting together with Derek Bros and his team over there. And and just an eventful week in total, has it not been? Ross Ulbricht and his trial, definitely a monumental trial that few people, sources are actually taking the time to cover. Pretty intense as far as the philosophical battle that's going on in the courts at the moment. And apparently, only thing that really matters is the amount of inflation, amount of gas that some pigskin had or whatnot. Amount of pressure on some balls.
Under pressure.
It's a little bit under pressure there. But I mean, it's ridiculous. As usual, as expected, as you well know, the media constantly misdirects and misgrandizes events that and storylines that really don't serve anything, any purpose other than to distract and divert the attention from the real news that's happening behind the scenes. Quite an eventful week. Other than that, I was thinking about, what kind of show we can really get going here for today. What can I give y'all of benefit and of advice of personal experience that has led me into some woes and to some benefits. And that is a holistic approach to anarchy. What do I mean by that? Well, we are human beings, right? We are creatures. We're Homo sapiens. And as such, we actually have these brains that are very capable of transforming things around us, right? Through our body, and very capable of planning things out and doing all these really cool things. So we have to start with the mind. Holistic anarchy, right, in regards to your mind, is an approach where you're, first of all, willing to look at things rationally.
Mind over matter.
Right? Willing to, break the limits. There you go. Go beyond outside the box. Go beyond yourself. Push yourself past the limits and go into new territory, really. New trajectories, new paths being tread. But with the mind, you have to be a rational person, because if you're someone that's not rational, someone that's emotionally based or bases their arguments on tradition or their emotion or their feeling or some ancient writings on a wall or in a book, if it's not based on something that they can rationally prove in some way, empirically prove in some way, if they, historically in some way, whatever, then it's really kind of not anarchism. It's, in fact, that's the illusion of that gives birth to statism. Is irrationality, is illogicality, is bad economics, bad math, right? As we all know, and bad ethics and bad morality. So the mind needs to be willing to constantly reevaluate itself, as it says in the Christian scriptures. Paul said to renew your mind daily. That's pretty insightful, to renew your mind daily, to rededicate your mind, your consciousness to what the fulfillment of that day must be. You need to have your morning meditation, your morning focusing.
It's like a reset.
Yeah, definitely like a reset. You just came out of a coma comatose, right? Came out of slumber. So you definitely reset your brain in a lot of ways, even though, of course, the brain's still going off it while you're sleeping. We know that. Obviously, it's got to keep the body alive, but you're conscious, right? Not your subconscious. Your conscious is not awake at that time. So, but regardless, kind of digressing there. Regardless, we definitely need to be rational, and something else that might come with the mind aspect is we need to, like you were saying, comrade of mine over here, like you were saying, we need to be willing to push ourselves to the beyond our limits.
It's like the third eye. You gotta expand the consciousness.
Yeah. I mean, you want to read things that are challenge you at first. What's the point of right playing a game that isn't challenging? If it's too easy, well, then you're not really gonna get better at something.
Yeah.
If it's hard, it's only a sign of talent and only a sign of experience points. Look at it like an RPG in a lot of ways, right? It's
Exactly.
You're getting experience points, and you're better at those.
You're ranking up. Yeah, getting better.
Yeah. So that would fall under the mind too. You know, the different concepts and ideas and the different your trades and talents. You can building those up. You know, that's an important thing of an anarchist. You want to be a use, to those around you. And we're starting with the mind because we're human. We're beings of consciousness. I mean, I don't know if I stressed that at the beginning or not, but I mean, it's obvious that we're not animals. So we need to start with the mind before we even go into the spiritual realm, right? Because what's the point of having a spiritual experience if there's no reason or logic to explain what you just
you got to innovate your own spiritual world. Keep innovating. We're human beings. We can innovate, but we can't innovate the spirituality.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's eternal. It's just that truth that's always been. And then with the mind, so it's pushing yourself, in order to gain new concepts and new talents, and definitely keeping your mind open and seeking the rational. Wow, like that one. Honestly, I'm 28 years old, and it wasn't until about, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, the second time that Ron Paul ran in his presidential campaign, that I really began to use rationalism. I would say, like, to really use. It had begun a little bit before that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was reading up on a lot of historicists and old school preachers and their commentaries on the Bible, and the amount of historical analysis and their reasoning with the literary analysis on this document there. But the way they would reason through it, it could mean this, it could mean that, this word means this it led me to see, wow, like you don't have to have a direct answer every single time. You can just explain. You have to look at things. There is no answer sometimes. You just have to look at as much things as you can, like as many of the facts as you can, and really analyze things. So being conscious about that and pushing yourself into higher levels of consciousness through intellectual endeavors is very, very satisfying at the end of the day, and it's very enlightening. So an overall holistic anarchist is going to have definitely those factors, is going to want to have those factors in their mind. And
it's like walking out of a movie. You see a great movie and you have that feeling. That's what you get. That feeling is the same feeling you get when you have a good conversation, a rational debate. You learn so much, you explain so much, and you get a good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Also, an interesting side note, since I already mentioned scriptures, might as well mention it again. In the Greek, actually, our word soul comes from the Greek word in the New Testament as psyche, interestingly enough. So I'll repeat that. Every time the word psyche is used in the New Testament in the Greek, it's translated into English as soul. So our consciousness, ladies and gentlemen, our consciousness is our soul. And so this would then logically conclude that animals have consciousness as well. And in fact, the scriptures confirm that. I mean, even when you look at the flood account, if you look at the Hebrew word, they're saying the word their soul, the same soul that's applied to human beings. So all the souls of the planet, of the earth, of the sea, of the air were killed during the flood. Well, that tells you animals are souls as well. So, and I don't mean to get preachy here, but this is my study of words, etymology, and old scriptures or old writings. Or obviously, we get a lot of our terms from Greek, right? Especially Latin, English, or whatever, some French words. But okay, digressing here. I don't know why I'm blushing over the Jesus thing. I don't know if y'all know, but I am a Christian, and I really need to cut down some of my pride sometimes and follow it more closely at other times too, because got to cut back on that drinking, got to cut back on that smoking.
Yeah, and you can have friends that are agnostic. Like I have friends that are Muslim, agnostic, atheist, and I'm Christian, but they'll say stuff that might anger you. That's they're against your beliefs. But that's no reason to hate the person or dislike the person. That's just their own personal preference and belief.
Right. And that really is a great segue into the other holistic part that the anarchist needs to have, and that's a whole heart. A whole heart or a whole spirit, right, needs to be at all times caring and loving and conscious of those around them. And whenever, as human beings, we all get frustrated. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We all lose it at times. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our failures. That's how we are, right? But what makes us strong is when we focus on those shortcomings and we overcome them. That's the challenge. I mean, that's what makes us stronger in the end. It's those experience points. You want to bring up the ones that are on the lower end of the spectrum. So if you have an open heart, you can hang out with agnostics. You can hang out with atheists. You can hang out with Buddhists and Jews and Christians and Muslims, and everyone can be at peace so long as everyone believes in the freedom of conscience, right? The liberty of conscience of everybody, the liberty to have everyone have their own religion, and not be
it's like
essentially offending each other.
It's like we were trained to grow up and be afraid or scared of other people's personal beliefs.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be all wishy-washy. Let's all hold hands, kumbaya right here. There are some faiths that were founded on aggressionary principles and continue to very much be influenced by aggressionary tactics and principles and statist, if you will, principles. I mean, predominantly, obviously, the Catholic Church and Islam, right? I mean, both of them, from an inception, have been a church and state entity, religion and state type of entity. Even many of the Protestant churches, right? Luther, Calvin, the Anglican Church, right? Church of England, all of them were essentially, statist as well when they broke off, and forced children to be baptized and whatnot. It wasn't until the Anabaptists that Christians realized that it's voluntary. It's a voluntary faith. Only adults should be baptized. It shouldn't be mixed with the state. Christianity shouldn't be mixed with the state, and that's a fear that we're heading back to. This seems to be kind of an open rant about everything, so we'll just rename this episode "Open Rant." But holistic anarchy through it. But
it's like anarchy or karma.
But yeah, that's the fear that we're heading. Yeah, that's the fear we're kind of heading to towards. With this atheistic communist Barack Obama we have as president. Obviously is going to create a retaliatory force of nationalistic,
the government
patriotic, xenophobic, Zionistic Christians that are going to want to take back their country, right, from the evil, godless commies. And all power to them as far as down with communism. I mean, I totally agree with that. But hey, you know what? Down with your patriotism and your theocracy. Because
glorifying statism.
Yeah, your version of Christianity is not Christianity. I mean, not according to the scriptures, not according to history. So you need to reevaluate yourself. But hey, that's another thing about the open heart and open mind, right?
Yep.
You got an open heart, you got an open mind. You're going to be evaluating yourself above everybody else. In other words, you're gonna judge yourself to a higher standard than everybody else. Right? Most people tend to judge other people higher in order to kind of push away their own self-reflection.
Yeah, they can use just one word, and that can like really set them off just by one word that they do not like.
Yeah, and it's like,
that's
it's like you've been denying self, meditating and self-reflecting on yourself for so long that everything everyone else does annoys the heck out of you, and you got to lash out because you haven't dealt with yourself. You haven't, you're not at peace, essentially.
You gotta respect yourself.
You gotta respect yourself
to that level, then you can deal with that easily.
Open heart, open mind, and we need to judge ourselves first. Right.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Why are we looking at everyone else? Always look at ourselves. And that's really goes for both Christians and anarchists. I'm talking as a Christian anarchist here. Both ideologies have shown me to do that. And nothing else has shown me to do that. The rest of the world has taught me to blame everybody else for my problems and blame society and try to find a way to benefit, off of everybody else, or those that are better off and more well-to-do, somehow let's benefit off of them because of my hardships, instead of dealing with myself, right? Self-analyzing myself and overcoming my shortcomings and pushing myself intellectually, pushing myself as far as being more open-minded and open-hearted and caring and loving and considerate, all these things. And this obviously leads to the body. And rewind.
Boosh.
Rewind. On the spirit note, just real quick before we wrap that up, the Greek word for that one was pneuma.
Pneuma, yay.
Pneuma. Sounds familiar, right? Pneumonia.
Pneumonia. You got pneumonia.
You got pneumonia.
Come on, go to the hospital.
But pneuma, breath. It actually comes from wind. Breeze, wind, breath. So our spirit is definitely our heart are definitely is our spirit, our mood, our breath, our words, if that makes any sense. They call liquors spirits, right? Because they liven up. Yeah, let's go get some spirits, boys.
It fuels the spirit. It fuels the soul.
Yeah, because it livens up your spirits, your mood, right? So spirit is your mood. If you have a open, happy mood, a truly anarchist mood, people are going to be accepting of you.
Yep.
If so, and your words, right? If your words aren't violent, if your words aren't controlling, if your words aren't demeaning, and hey, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here at all, folks. Hey, I'll repeat the Apostle Paul again. I'm the chiefest of sinners. In a lot of ways, I feel like I'm the worst when it comes to all these things, but I have to say it. I have to get off my chest because it helps me deal with my problems. And I feel that a lot of people might be going through this as well. And I don't know. It's just a part of the human condition, I guess. But going on to body, to our body, to our physical body, that includes a lot of things. It really does. How we take care of our body properly. I mean, everything from getting the right amount and the adequate type of water, right, at the right times. It gets really technical here. I mean, before you want to eat or after you eat, but you got to wait like 40 minutes or something like that in order to get your digestive fluids going.
Whatever the earth grows, whatever you can grow on the ground or get like water from the planet, that should be the food you eat. Like animals and whatever, but processed foods, all the stuff that's synthesized and fake like that, that's not what we're really supposed to eat.
Yeah, well, I mean, with our diet, see, that's a debatable thing. I've been on and off vegetarian for a couple of years. Sometimes I might get some chicken or something like that. But that's before. I used to be really hardcore about it. Now sometimes I might not have enough food in the fridge, and it kind of fills up an empty slot that can be filled up for
Very empty slot.
no, but see, now I'm excusing myself. No, and it goes against my principles. It really does. I mean, but what I'm getting at with that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information as to how we should eat, the proper foods we need to eat, even different types of diets for different types of people, depending on the situation that you're in, what you're trying, the kind of lifestyle that you're
And
trying
they
to
make
live.
those up so they can profit off it.
Well, wait. Rewind again. What?
They make up these diets and commercials and infomercials and stuff that's not really trusted upon. Like some of those diets are, not really working that the way they say, and they make money off of it, selling products.
Huh. Well, I don't know what you mean. Like those diet pills?
No, these special diets that come with like P90X comes with these diets, but they never really talk about it in the commercial because it's mostly BS.
Huh. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of grains, definitely a lot of grains. That's a major source of your carbs. Different kinds of rices, different kinds of grains, quinoa, kamut. Got your brown rices, white rices, wild rices. You got your couscous. You got a whole bunch of different kinds of quinoa. And you got all your different kinds of lentils and legumes.
High protein ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, high
definitely.
protein
Yeah, all your
quinoa.
beans that you're gonna want to eat a lot of that. Mixing those two grains and legumes or legumes is complete protein there. So
Yep.
you're gonna want to get a lot of fresh veggies, a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables, onion, garlic, ginger, turmeric, a lot of chilies, different kinds of chilies. Lemons really great. That's pretty much essential for every meal. I mean, lemon juice with salt and some olive oil or something like that,
and a good amount
of
that
on top of your meal.
If you have a balanced amount of lemons, it's good for your teeth. If you eat too much is bad, but like you balance like 1 or 2 lemons maybe a day, it's good for your teeth. But
no, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's just so many, and it's amazing the range of food, even from a vegetarian standpoint. It's amazing the amount of vegetables that there's more vegetables out there than lettuce and tomatoes, guys. It's like, and we all know this, but it's amazing. It's really almost like astonishing, really. I mean, once you start to see all different kinds, if you're ever in a situation where like you got all these different veggies in front of you, you're like, holy crap, like wow, like, and all of them has something slightly different, something slightly beneficial for you in some way. So it's amazing to me. It really shows in a lot of ways how everything was around us is kind of created for our benefit, for the benefit of living creatures. It's amazing. But with the with taking care of our bodies, so we have proper diets. Let's not forget our fruits, right?
Yes, fruits are a necessity.
You got to have your shakes.
Yeah. Pomegranate, you got a mango.
Yep. Strawberry, all the berries
are good too.
All the range of berries. Yeah. Oranges, lemons.
Good mix.
Yep. Bananas. Ooh.
Those are so easy that you can't mess that up. All you gotta do is peel back and have fun.
Yeah. So I mean, this holistic anarchy. I mean, you're looking at truly well, in our sense of a diet, a diversity, right? A diversity and things that come from the earth. I mean, we came from the earth, so it seems
there's more mix and match with what comes from the earth. All the veggies, all the options you have compared to something in a box. Some food products you can't mix. We can always mix a lot of veggies with fruits, and it tastes delicious. You can't do that with the over-the-counter food.
Yeah. That's true, man. All the processed crap. I mean, the rise in cancer, diabetes, heart disease, overweight problems. Yeah, I mean, it's our food and all the food we're eating. I mean, straight up, they changed the Hippocratic Oath, right? So good water, a lot of sunshine, a lot of exercise, good sleeping patterns. And when you eat, you want to have those on a regular pattern too. I mean, this would be the ideal body here. And why would an anarchist? I mean, I'm not, again, some people might say, oh my gosh, like putting all these rules on yourself and standards on yourself. And it's not about putting rules on yourself. It's about seeing which way you would be most efficient, right? Which way would your body be most healthy and efficient? Don't you want to spend the most amount of conscious and healthy years on the planet in order to fight the state, right? Healthy and in strength and in intellectual prowess. I mean, or what? I mean, do you want to be a slick slob dependent on the Obamacare? I mean, I really don't understand, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So, and look, I mean, not that we all do irrational things. I'm still doing irrational things. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not. I don't believe in original sin. It's not. Again, that's not really taught in the scriptures anywhere. And the few verses that they tried to say that those supposedly promote it, it's a totally just misinterpreted. The context is completely off. Literary context is completely off. But regardless of that, there does tend to be. Look, let's put it this way: philosophers, the Greek philosophers, that weren't even religious, right? Believing in all these different Greek gods or believing in the cosmos or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of them back in the day even declared themselves. I mean, I couldn't tell you the reference here, but if you just look it up, I mean, when Paul said that, I do the things I don't want to do, and I don't want to, and I don't do the things I want to do, he was quoting many of the Greek philosophers of the time who acknowledged the fact that there was an ethical standard, like, there's ethics. It can be observed through, your mind, through reason. You can see that everyone owns themselves and that aggressing on people is unethical, right? Okay, so the Greek philosophers would come to the realization that yes, there is an ethical standard, but I can't follow it. There's aspects to myself that fall short, that I have an unethical aspect to me, right? And Christians confuse it with the Romish Popish doctrine of original sin, which is just a doctrinal made up to excuse a doctrine made up to excuse taxation and to get the head count, I guess, on all the taxes and the census and whatnot, and find out how many boys you can send off to war. I mean, but what I'm getting at with all of it is that it's just
crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I kind of lost track there. My bad. What were we just talking about, Steve?
We're talking about food and some Greek gods.
Yeah. So the philosophers, I don't know, but basically to wrap up the point about the Greek philosophers, is that they acknowledge themselves that there was a rational code to ethics, and that they couldn't, in a lot of ways, they couldn't follow it, and so they would cry out.
They deviated from that.
Yeah, they deviated from that in some ways, even though they themselves mentally, with an open heart and with an open mind, knew that it was detrimental to themselves or detrimental to those around them. They decided to go ahead and do it anyway, and so they couldn't change their evil tendencies, if you will. And this is the solution this is the solution that Christianity essentially offers, is this power, right? This power that comes from heaven, from Christ, who's up in heaven mediating. If you choose to walk with him, you can walk away. And honestly, I've been walking away from the Lord for a long time now, to be completely honest with y'all. I mean, this whole anarchistic endeavor has gotten me to question my faith a lot of ways and reanalyze the Bible. But but a lot of things in it, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm going through the atheistic handbook to the Bible, and a lot of it in there is a lot of hogwash. I mean, from an objective standpoint, from a literary standpoint, you look at the scriptures as a literary document, like the Constitution or like Moby Dick, right? And you can't just pull out Article 2, amendment, the Second Amendment or whatever, and pull out some character from Moby Dick or whatever, and interject your own fanciful explanation to it. Right? You have to read the context of what it's saying and understand really what the literary piece means by those things. So a lot of the issues with the atheistic handbook to the King James Bible, or to and really the Bible in general, because they're all of them are really similar. There's slight changes, not much.
Yeah, and there's many chapters in the Bible that are the chronological order of it. It seems like some of it is actually already happening right now. And you read some scriptures, you can mix and you find out. You read the whole Bible and you reread some pages and scriptures. You can like combine them, and it's like what's going on right now is in the Bible. Like some of the stuff in the Bible.
That's when you're getting into what Revelation and Daniel and
you just like you read it and you just look up and you're trying to think like, really, that's kind of happening now.
Yeah, well, I mean, prophecy really. I mean, that's again. I mean, yeah, you're hitting it on the head there, Steve. Prophecy is what really kind of shows the divine origin of it. I mean, or the supernatural, if you will, origin of it. I mean, it's got Nostradamus doesn't really have jack on the prophecies of the scripture. This is why
they glorified him too in the media and movies. They glorified Nostradamus heavily.
Oh yeah, they love to, and his stuff is so vague. I mean, Daniel is so precise that the higher critics of the everybody that doesn't believe in the Bible, that is in the academic realm, claims that Daniel had to have been written after even after A.D. I mean, it couldn't have been written 300 BC when Daniel was around 400 BC or whatever. It couldn't have been written that far back. When in fact, the Greeks commissioned a translation of the Old Testament, and Daniel was one of the first books to be translated from Hebrew into Greek. 300 BC, we have Greek parchments of the Old Testament. So, I mean, Daniel's there. I mean, there's a lot of heavy prophecies, and but I don't know what we're getting at with that. But that really goes, I guess, going back to the spirituality aspect. Everyone has their own flavor, their own approach. But so long as you're applying rationalism, right, an open mind and an open heart, and you're applying your heart, true ethics to your religion, then you shouldn't be led astray.
This is what I do when I'm talking to somebody when they have a different belief than me. When I'm talking to a friend, and he says something that's against my beliefs, this one word might usually piss you off. When that word is said to me, that something will set me off. That because it's his belief. I look around. It goes through one ear and out the other ear. The rest I accept consciously. Like all the bias that against my personal belief is just out the window. I got to that point where I can easily do that, and I get offended.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. An intelligent man can put aside their beliefs for a while to entertain the beliefs of somebody else, just for companion's sake, for good time's sake, right? Whatever. But yeah, I mean, so long as we're applying rationalism, and so long as we're applying, I mean, how rational can you be with religion, right? But that's kind of an oxymoron. Yeah. But I mean, so long as we're applying rationality. But see, look, this is an interesting thing here. Actually, this is another very interesting point. A divergence here between Protestantism and Catholicism. Catholicism being way more, and Eastern Orthodoxy and Pentecostalism and the charismatic movement being way more of a mystical, Christianity, a mystic Christianity, where they want to feel God, where they want to, live them and feel them and see them and see these miracles happening. Whereas traditional Protestantism, Luther, Calvin, Zwingli, Michael Settler and all them, basically they were very literal to the scriptures, right? I mean, very whatever the scripture says. It's a very, and in that sense, can be scientifically analyzed, right? Because how are you going to scientifically analyze someone's personal experience?
Yeah, that's weird. That's like going into the brain. You can't.
You can't. Yeah, it's a subjective experience. Whereas a literary document, and then you start considering the fact that there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of scrolls in Ethiopian, in Greek, in Aramaic, in Latin, in Hebrew, and all these different languages, different parts of the world, dating from different time periods, and all essentially pretty much saying the same thing, hinting towards the pretty accurate transcribing, pretty accurate copy making. Because remember, before the printing press, every book had to be copied by hand in order to be passed around. And so, of course, you won't have ancient scrolls of the original scrolls, because the original scrolls wore out long before, our time frame, obviously, because they're used and they're reused. These things need to be copied over and over again. But getting with the Protestant side of the faith of Christianity is that it can at least be more subject to rational criticism, because now you can go back to the original Hebrew, the Aramaic, the Ethiopian, whatever, the Greek, and point to them, or point to anybody promoting any, whether misconception, whatever. If you believe it's a misconception in the Bible, you can at least be more accurate against Christians, right? Yeah. By properly analyzing it as a literary piece, and properly going to the ancient languages, and then properly making your critique. And for people on the other end, it's also a great tool for properly deciphering whether this, what the Bible's actually trying to say, and whether people are actually promoting it and teaching it.
Maybe it's code. Maybe there's code word in the Bible. You never know.
Well, see, that's that mystical stuff again.
Yeah,
that's that mystic. The encoded, the cryptic, the what do you call it? The
Da Vinci Code,
esoteric, right? You got the esoteric and the exoteric, right? So yeah, I mean, it's the idea that this faith is esoteric, hidden for only the initiates and those that can understand. And that's a bunch of hogwash. That's not what it's about at all. So, but going back to the body, being holistic as to our approach. And I don't know why, Jesus seems to be coming up and the Bible seems to be coming up. And I'm sorry for offending people if y'all are offended. I really am. I'm not trying to, inquisite you into converting or anything like that.
Yeah. Must convert now.
I'm just simply expressing, what his kind of helped me become my own holistic, my personal subjective, holistic approach to this. And everything else is very much very analytical on the show. And even what I mentioned right now, I'm a Protestant again. So if you have an issue with the word, come with me some scripture. I would love to explain it to you in a very rationally and in a very rational and concise format, with sources and historical precedent and or something at least, in order to have a valid excuse. I mean, up until now, I've found valid excuses to a lot of the crap in the Old Testament that people like pointing out. And I say it's crap because that's for another show. But holistic approach, guys, I'm really sorry about that. So we got the mind, we got the spirit, right? Our heart, essentially, our feelings, our mood. We got our bodies. We need to be open-minded. We need to be patient. We need to be these things, because how are we going to win over status? How are we going to win over the deceived if we don't have greener grass on our side of the fence? If we're not living anarchy today, if we're not living voluntarily and peacefully and lovingly today, right? Then what do we have to offer other than a bunch of jabber, right? That's one of the struggles of being in this movement, is that it literally requires that anybody that really wants to be in it, in the sense of, like, if you care about these truths, if you care about these things, if you care about anarchy, if you care about people being free, people being caring and loving with each other, and people being whole human beings, and the human race as a whole having its full potential realized. If you care about these things, then it's our duty to really be most effective with it and form communities. And it gets tough. It gets tough because it feels like you're alone all the time. And like I was saying, for anybody that gets into this, it's a calling to build community and to transform the world around you. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. A lot of people see it as being arrogant, or a lot of people see it as looking to, be a gang leader or something. I don't know, but um, it's just insane. Why can't we? It's a struggle that's definitely very, very disheartening at times, because you can't be at peace. When can you really ever be at peace when there's people being slaughtered by my tax dollars? Right? How can I holistically be open-hearted and open-minded and loving and caring, consciously knowing that my tax dollars and my consent are going to the killing of innocents? It creates a split in the mind, and it forces a lot of people to turn around and run away. They get scared. They don't want to have to, again, self-analyze, fight the world, and pull up their britches and take on the world. I mean, essentially, and self-analyze yourself and
understand the pros and cons of yourself.
Exactly.
The pros and cons of yourself in your life, and your character, your principle, view everything that's wrong and good morally, not just to your own self, but what you believe, but morally, like to the rest of the society, the rest of the planet. And look at yourself.
But we want to avoid those things, right? Hey, let's just go watch the game for 3-4 hours straight. Get my mind and my heart completely off of anything that really matters, that anything that has to deal with me self-analyzing myself, because I dread that. It's scary as hell. I don't want to have to deal with my evils and my unethical decisions.
Yeah, your vices.
My vices and I don't want to have to overcome my vices and my demons. Yeah. But we got to. And you know what? This is that even more reason as to why we need community, because we need to form, statist anonymous groups or anarchist anonymous groups, if rather, groups where we encourage each other to it can be, depending on the situation and what actually needs to come out of light. I mean, girl support groups for girls that have been victimized sexually, at young ages or at any age, that's a very important group, I see, right? A group for guys who want to talk about whatever issues with, I don't know, anger, and issues with, I don't know, alcoholism, or issues with, treating those that you love with disrespect and yelling at them, or all these different things where, guys might feel more comfortable, letting out, amongst themselves, and the girls amongst themselves, but nonetheless forming community, and nonetheless, encouraging each other to open up and be a change, and let go of those old ways, and just make better way for ourselves, right?
Exactly, man.
Make it better tomorrow. Because if we don't do it, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't decide to do this now, if we don't decide to change our lives now, change ourselves now, then when? It's going to be that much harder tomorrow. Even that much harder the week afterwards, you're simply building up the amount of complacency, the amount of conformity that we have to the system. Right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Yep.
So we need to fight it every day on every plane that we can.
It's a hard fight consciously. It's a really hard fight for most people.
And hey, I'm not saying some entertainment isn't bad every now and then. You got to have your release every now and then. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah, if you're the one, the type of anarchist who can see through all the crap in the TV, you're not in a movie theater, you can see through all of it, and you got a friend who comes out with you and doesn't understand your viewpoint of anarchy or non-governmental organizations or anything, and you try to explain to him, they look at you like you're crazy, but it's like, yeah, it's rational though. Yeah, you can't just like rush into that.
What do they? Yeah, did they
People.
say? Do they ever say anything rational in return?
Some of it sounds like they're actually kind of afraid sometimes to be rational in a conversation like this. They just want to look cool in the conversation rather than be rational. They want to look cool around in public. They get attention too.
So they rather not even engage it a lot of times.
They just want to use it for the cotton moment to get some sort of like good feeling, but not like the good feeling
Oh,
that
the
we get.
catchphrase.
That we get the good feeling that we get during a nice, a knowledgeable debate, a nice concise debate,
or or a stimulating conversation.
Exactly. They actually like the ones that are instant gratification for that good happy feeling.
Oh yeah. That's another thing we're gonna have to learn, right? Is patience. I mean, being open hearted, being open minded. That means you're pretty patient, and of course we shouldn't be patient with the system, right? I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to be patient with. What am I saying? We need to be patient with. I guess to a degree we kind of do. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's my pacifist coming out, but these are just inner thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really sorry for not having a lot of this show. Kind of, it's kind of been off the cuff here, and I felt that this has really been important because I know the times that my diet's been good and my cycles, exercise cycles, and eating times and sleeping has all been on point. I feel great. I'm great. I'm energized. I'm out, protesting every other day on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm typing stuff up. If
You're being
not,
very consistent.
yeah, if not, I get sluggish. Rather just do something else. And there's times too where I've been abusive with with people around me. People, my friends, and in ways that I've talked to them. I mean, I'm not like a huge jerk or anything like that, but I feel bad the way sometimes I might say things or word things or and I guess those situations are inevitable. I mean, people's feelings are gonna get hurt sometimes, and we all have to learn some humility. That's another point. I mean, we need to recognize when we're wrong and learn to say sorry. Anarchists can say sorry. Statists can't. Right? Statists can't say sorry. Statists can't self-evaluate themselves. Statists don't really want to be open-minded and open-hearted. Statists take care of their body, but it's only for breaking yours. Statists don't really have too much of a mind, psyche. At least the ones I've talked to, they're kind of just following orders. Doesn't take much.
Yep.
Much thinking when you're told what to do.
Yeah, and it brings up paycheck to the table. Well, what about my kids? What about my family? All that. But there's other alternatives you can do. I mean,
that's another. Yeah.
There's alternatives in life. They don't have to make you actually act like that or abuse your power if your job's like authority over like a regular citizen, or you're using your background or something. You're like ex-military. You're using your background, your past to engage in authority.
Yeah. But that's what and that that reminds me. That's what I meant by patience. Like, that's what I meant by patience is obviously we're not going to be turning a blind eye when atrocities are happening, but nonetheless,
patience is a virtue.
But nonetheless, the way we approach the state, the way we approach statists in general, again, we need to do it from an anarchist perspective. How would we want to be treated, right? And that's important. That's it's very important. It's all about style, right? You gotta have a peaceful style, a fluid style, in order for people to accept your views. If you're turning them off, then I don't know, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right.
You're not doing it the correct way. Yeah.
Over here, we try to do it right.
Exactly.
Sometimes we do it wrong. But it's always at night.
Yeah, at night, because we're night owls. The high intelligence at night.
Call. Hey, but I don't know about those articles, man. Some of those articles are weird. It's like, the healthiest people on earth eat Big Macs. It's like,
and they keep changing those subjects. The FDA will come out with a commercial or a statement like 9 years later, 10 years later. Oh, we were wrong. It's actually healthy for you. Then like 20 years later, no, it's bad for you. You notice the FDA keeps doing that.
Oh yeah,
They say,
yeah.
no, this is really healthy for you now. And then like years later, no, this is the healthiest thing right now. It's on the newspapers and it's on TV, and they keep doing that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Government, and bureaucracy. That's what they do. It's what they do. This is what we analyze. But guys, come on. We can do it. Let's build some community support here. And let's get this going. Start with your family. Start with your friends. Let's start hanging out more often. And you can only make your circle so big until you start getting overwhelmed with the amount of people that you're dealing with. So keep it small. I mean, it's fine. I mean, to keep it to a dozen. If you guys are intellectually getting into ideas, if you guys are sharing struggles and sharing past, you know, I don't know, regrets or broken feelings or whatever, hurt feelings, and getting over those things and sharing, I don't know, your weaknesses in order to kind of, get some little bit of humility going. I don't know. That's a great way of building companionship, camaraderie, and uh, really helping. It's really in the end, right? I mean, it's not. I'm not focusing here on the collective or anything, trying to build a collective or nothing. But in the end, having a healthy, focusing on a healthy collective in that sense, right, is going to help out the individual to a max. I mean, obviously, the focus is on encouraging the individual to become their ultimate them. So, and we can do it. We can do it together, and let's do it. I mean, we do it in a couple of. We all convert 2 or 3 people to true anarchy. This holistic anarchy of a healthy mind, body, and heart, right? And a healthy spirit, healthy religion if you have one, healthy ideology. If you metaphysical ideology if you have one, whatever. Um, yeah, I think things would get a lot better, right? It has to. It's one of the things I realized the other day, bro. Is you know, this whole time, I had this idea that the states here, doing all these things behind our back or doing all these things to us, and no, it's the majority of society agrees and accept these things. They're okay with it. What's going on? Majority of society is. Ask them, talk to them. They are. So the problem here is an engagement of ideas. We have failed in the realm of ideas, and perhaps it's because the mainstream media has kept us out of the light for so long. God, thank God for the alternative media, but we do need to engage people on the streets, and we need to engage people around us, our families, our neighbors, and start building it. Start building the new society, right? The second realm, ladies and gentlemen. We can do it. We need your help. We're all a pillar in it, right? 7 billion of us here on the planet. I'm sure we can figure it out. So I do appreciate you guys listening to us. We're going to be back next week. We're going to continue on with the Power and Market, Murray Rothbard's epic treatise on the intervention of the state and what they do, how they steal. I do appreciate y'all tuning in.
yeah, it was very fun.
Have a lively week. Keep up with the Ross Ulbricht trial with Silk Road. That's definitely going to be big headlines
Yeah.
for Bitcoin, big headlines for government's intervention into Bitcoin and whatnot.
And Litecoin and the other type of currencies that are getting headway right now, Fuel Coin, some other stuff. And Coinbase is going to have their own exchange. Coinbase is open to exchange for Bitcoin.
Yeah, so this trial is gonna affect a lot of things in the crypto world. Depending, it can go a lot of ways. So let's keep an eye out on that. Let's keep some solidarity going on with that. Sending some good vibes, some prayers, and what else? Wrapping up. Keep listening to everybody here on the Voluntary Virtues Network. Do appreciate everyone supporting and checking us out. Got another show if you want to check it out. Truth Exposed Radio. That one actually is pretty good. Always got a theme. Always got a schedule going on. That's Truth Exposed Radio. Logos Radio Network. Live in Austin, Texas. Pretty legit. And just doing it for free. I'm not not asking for donations or nothing. This is all a service here. Out of love and charity. do appreciate y'all doing the same for listening. So I do love y'all for listening in, and let's spread that love. Let's spread that anarchy.
Spread the love.
Spread the love. Spread that peace, that knowledge and that philosophy. Keep it up, boys and girls. Catch you next week.